I've been living with ghosts. Everywhere that I go, wanting me to come. I've been living with ghosts. Got me here by the throat, wanting me to come.
Hello there guys, this is Alex here, bringing you part 6 of What If Deku Had Full Counter. But before I begin, I do need to mention, thank you for all the support you guys gave us for the last 2 parts in regards to this series. It kind of was, I thought this series was dead, I'll be real honest. And, but I do hope you guys like the story we're going with. In this case, if you guys didn't put 2 and 2 together, shame on you. But regardless, I do hope you guys do enjoy this. And in this case, these are like 2 parts stitched together. So at least as a, New Year's little gift, since I didn't do anything on Christmas, let's be honest. At least you guys enjoy this part. It's going to be longer. It's a 4,800 word script that Ed concocted. In this case, I only supervised in regards to the direction. I try to add a little bit of what I wanted, but in this case, I couldn't get the words out right. I'm not really a native English speaker, so I do apologize. And you could see that with how I speak or simply when I read. I'm not a kid, but I do have elementary English, so I do apologize for that. But in regards to that, guys, guys and gals, if there are any gals, I do hope you like this part. And in this case, for the next part 7, so we can start working on it right now. If not, then this case, Ed is going to focus on the reincarnation of Link, part 12, if I remember correctly. He'll focus on that. If the like goal would be 300, we're tripling it. He told me 400, but I'm going to be real honest. It's just I don't expect you guys to hear this part that much, or just don't put too much attention to this part. So in this case, at least 300, okay? If we can get that, and at least, I guess, I want to say in one day, yeah, we'll start working immediately, and we just drop a little bit of everything, so we can start working on the next part. But yeah, in this case, also want to announce for the 2K special, really, you guys really want me to surprise you? In this case, I'm not going to surprise you, it's going to be Ed. So in this case, he already concocted a script already. You might be interested in this one, so watch out for that. I'll be checking about posting that one by the 10th most likely, so we can get 2 parts out. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Where we last left off, the students arrived outside so they could do Aizawa's apprehension test, but everybody was shocked to hear that Izuku would do a different test altogether, and noticing that he was shivering on the sound of someone's voice, calling him lazy ass, and demanding his presence. Izuku saying, "Don't tell me he's here." Aizawa saying, "Yep, he sure is." Izuku saying, "I don't feel so good. Mind if I went to Recovery Girl's office?" Aizawa saying, about that. You might not reach Recovery Girl's office in time." Izuku panicking, "Oh, please don't say that. I still can make my way to..." As an individual would say, "Oh really, kid? You think you can outrun me?" Izuku gulped and would say, "Aizawa, is he behind me?" Aizawa, visibly amused, "Well, care to take a look?" Izuku, planning his next move, and would say, "Taiyaki stand at 6 o'clock. On the sound of Taiyaki stand, the individual got distracted, giving Izuku enough time to make a run for it. But, unfortunately, the individual simply managed to kick Izuku in his back, making him fall over, face first into the ground, in front of the entire class, as the class wondered what just happened. Aizawa would say, "Gran Torino, did you really have to resort to such a method?" Torino said, "He skipped my training for 11 months. Of course I would resort to such method." Izuku, whining, would say, "Torino-sensei, why are you even here? Weren't you supposed to be retired or something?" Torino saying, "Oh, you did not just ask that question. Isn't it obvious? I'm here because a certain slacker didn't bother to show up for his training for the past 11 months. Now tell me, what is your excuse? Izuku, laughing nervously. Sheesh, calm down, Torino-sensei. You know that's no good for you at your age. And it's actually a funny story. You see, I had work. I trained with Vin-sensei, then I hanged out with Katsuki and Tipsy Girl over there. So yeah. Ochako, somewhat angry, would say, "Hey, don't call me that. I told you my name is Ochako, and we only hanged out one time, and you ditched us, leaving me alone with Explosion Boy about to pop a blood vessel. Not to mention it was like 10 months ago." Katsuki saying, "You son of a... How could you just blame me like that?" Torino saying, and giving him a deadpan look, and say, "Izuku, did you really think I would blame your friends for your mistake?" Izuku saying, "Well, it was worth a shot." Torino saying, "Worth the shot? Hey, I'll give you a shot." Grand Torino gun punches Izuku, winding him. Torino saying, "Over the course of the years, you became a pain in the ass to deal with. You started to lie, you find excuses to avoid training, you became lazy, and now you bring others into your mess? Both me and All Might gave you recommendations, but you declined them. Then you go for the regular exam and choose to get the bare minimum. How disgraceful. Now you and I are going to have to make up for lost time." Torino pulled Izuku from the ear and dragged him away, as Izuku would be whining in pain. The entire class watching, the old man dragging Izuku to the gym. Izuku was whining, trying to get away from him. At some point, Izuku managed to get away, but he was kicked by Gran Torino, and Torino just pulling him by the ankle, still whining until they entered the gym, and disappearing from Class 1A's sight. Kaminari, visibly terrified, would say, "Whoa, and I was about to ask why he was getting special treatment. After seeing that, I'm not too sure about that." Kirishima saying, "I kind of feel bad for him. Even he ignored me and never talked to me." Mina saying, "I know, right?" Mineta saying, "Oh my fucking god, he's a goner. Who the hell is that man?" Almost saying, I think I know who that old man is." Ochako saying, He was hoping for me to go through that. Katsuki, explain." Katsuki, putting his hands together as he was about to pray, and would say, "I'll always remember you." Ochako saying, "What the fuck? He's not going to die, is he?" Katsuki saying, "Don't know, but better him than me." Aizawa, visibly annoyed, "Knock it off. Nobody's going to die. And if you're just wondering about that old man, his name's Tsuruhiko Torino, aka Gran Torino, the jet lag hero. He's inactive as a pro, and he was formerly a teacher here at UA when All Might was a student here. There's no need to worry for Izuku's safety. He's in good hands." The windows at the top of the gym shattered, and a loud boom followed. Aizawa, kind of scared, would say, "Yeah, good hands, hopefully." That comment gave the students an uneasy feeling, and they were questioning Aizawa, but instead of answering, he tossed a ball to Katsuki. Aizawa saying, "Bakugo, you got the highest score on the entrance exam. How far could you throw a ball in middle school?" Katsuki thinking, I think somewhere between 88 to 100 meters, give or take." Aizawa saying, "Impressive. Now try using your quirk." With Aizawa giving Katsuki the thumbs up to use his quirk, he scored over 839.5 meters, due to the fact of his training with Izuku whenever Izuku skipped Gran Torino's training. Mina saying, "Whoa, that looks fun." Aizawa saying, fun, huh? Well, let's make it interesting, shall we?" The class gulped. Aizawa would say, "Let's have a little contest. Normally I would expel the student whichever would have gotten last place, but since we have Gran Torino here, the student in last place will join them in their training. How does that sound?" Everybody looked back to Mina and glared at her. Mina, with anime tears, would say, "But that's not fair." Aizawa saying, "Fair? Do you think natural disasters, power-hungry villains, or the loss of loved ones is fair? We as heroes have a job to combat that unfairness and do something about it, just like Izuku with his training with Gran Torino." Katsuki flinched once Aizawa mentioned Izuku. Kaminari saying, "Don't you think making us go through that same training would kill us? I mean, the window's shattered. What can that prove? The same thing won't happen to our bones." Aizawa saying, "Fair point. Care to test it out yourselves, or would you rather make sure you're not in last place? That said, you'll do various tests, the same ones that you've done in middle school, but this time by utilizing your quirks. So get to it. The students, fearing for Gran Torino's training, they would do slightly better than in the anime. For the most part, the only thing left to do was the ball throw. Since Katsuki had his turn at the beginning, he's done with the test. Aizawa saying, "Alright, Yayorozu, you're up next." Momo made a cannon so that she could fire the ball into the distance, and once Aizawa gave her the thumbs up, she fired the cannon. Aizawa, keeping his eyes on the phone, would say, "Yayorozu, you got 5.2 meters. How pathetic." Momo saying, "Aizawa-sensei, get a recovery girl." Aizawa was confused on the statement, and he looked around to see a shirtless Izuku groaning in pain. Momo saying, "Haru-san, are you okay?" Izuku saying, "No, I think I broke a rib." As he would start touching his ribs to count how many are broken. "Oh, no, 2. Oh, there's a 3rd. Okay. Oh, look, I see a white light. I feel sleepy." Momo visibly worried. "Don't go towards the light. Don't die on me. I don't need you on my conscience." As Momo started to tear up and would say, "Aizawa-sensei, why aren't you doing anything?" Ida saying, "I'll go get a recovery girl." Everybody was worried for Izuku, except Katsuki and Aizawa. Torino would make himself known as he would say, "Oi, Izuku, stop pretending to be injured. Can you see you're making a classmate cry? Or do you want me to get serious and break your ribs? So you have to go to the excuse to go and rest up." Izuku saying, No need to get serious. Anything but that." Momo, having tears in her eyes, would be confused and say, "What? I thought..." Izuku saying, "As you can see," gesturing to his abdomen, "I'm fine. I was just trying to see if Aizawa would have brought me to Recovery Girl's office so I could avoid this torture." Momo, caught in the moment and getting red in the face, she would say, "Oh my god, you can grind meat on those abs." Izuku saying, "Huh?" Torino saying, "You're mistaken, young miss. I trained him to the point where he can grind steel on those." Izuku saying, "Come again?" Momo, realizing she spoke out loud, she covered her face, which was even redder from embarrassment. I would say, "That's not what I meant." As someone would yell out, "Sarahiko, what did you do this time?" Torino flinching, saying, "Chio, I didn't do anything." Recovery Girl saying, "Young man, please bring him to my office and wait for me there." Ida saying, "Okay." Katsuki saying, "Step aside, Four Eyes, I'll do it." Recovery Girl saying, "And you, Sarahiko, you're coming with me. You have a lot to explaining to do." Aizawa would say, "Everybody, back to what we were doing." Meanwhile, in Recovery Girl's office, Chio scolded Sarahiko for the brutal training he made Izuku go through during the years, and explained the problem with Izuku's body. In the end, Chio simply gave him a smooch, and Izuku was simply laying there and talking to Katsuki, wondering what was that for. Time skip to a few days later. During this time skip, the girls low-key are getting closer to Izuku, and they notice on how Izuku's curiosity could rival that of a kid's. But he doesn't mind the attention, thinking he should have done it years ago, with Mineta in the background being envious. Izuku was chatting with Katsuki until a familiar voice echoed in the classroom, as a figure would appear saying, "I am here, coming into a classroom like a hero." Kaminari would say, "Whoa, look, it's All Might in his Silver Age costume. So he really is a teacher here at UA?" All Might saying, "Not exactly, young student. I'm more as a part-time teacher, or rather a teacher's assistant, for hearing class." Kirishima would say, "So who's the teacher?" As a person would say, "That would be me." Izuku froze, and slowly glancing towards the door, his fears coming true, and when the others saw who was walking calmly towards the front of the classroom, Izuku would say, "I don't feel good. May I go to Recovery Girl's office?" Torino saying, "Don't worry, kid. Calm down. Would you?" Mineta saying, "Oh no, we're going to die." The class started to get rowdy, as Torino facepalms and says, Why did I ever agree to come back to this place?" All Might, diffusing the situation, would calm down the students, and would say, "Alright, calm down. There is a big misunderstanding about Gran Torino-sensei. He's a good teacher, and it was mostly thanks to him I was able to reach the #1 spot." The students started to calm down. Torino, chuckling and saying, "That's funny. If I remember correctly, you hated my guts, especially for our little one-on-one spars. And if I'm not mistaken, during one of our spars, it was picture day. And I have to check if I still have that picture with me." All Might shaking, saying, "Please don't show them that picture. My pride is on the line." Torino saying, "Then behave." Torino made his way to the top of the teacher's desk, pulled out a bunch of papers, and put on some glasses. Torino, clearing his voice, "All right, kiddos," reading the papers, and would say, "What is this, a movie setup? Isn't it supposed to be training?" All Might saying, "This exercise is already going a few steps ahead, according to the school's curriculum. Did you have something else in mind?" Torino saying, "Just a few steps forward. Huh. Oh, well, I guess. But first, you need to look the part." Torino presses a button, and briefcases with names written on them popped out of the wall. Torino saying, "All right, kiddos, put your hero suits on and meet me on ground beta. On second thought, ground gamma. And Toshinori." All Might saying, "Yes." Torino saying, "Would you be so kind to bring me some taiyaki?" All Might saying, "Okay." Gran Torino exited the classroom and went to ground gamma while the students got into their hero costume. Sometime later, with everyone with their hero outfit on the way, were ready for action, but only All Might was there. All Might saying, "All right, students, Gran Torino will be here shortly, and I must say, the clothes makes the pros, and you are proof of it. In any case, one at a time, I want you to draw lots, so we can determine the teams for the exercise." While people were getting lots, Ochako would say, "Hey, Izu, are you sure that this is suited for hero work?" Izuku saying, "Yeah, of course it is. I have a hoodie that's in my favorite color, and some cargo pants, and some sturdy boots to keep myself on the ground. Besides, I feel very flexible with this. I use my quirk freely, and can you see I also have a sword?" Ochako, wanting to continue the conversation, would say, "I think I should have ordered something different. The suit is skin tight, and it's not my style." Izuku, confused, would say, "But I never asked you about it." Ochako's inner monologue would say, "What the fuck, can he at least pretend to care?" Ochako, trying to hide the fact that she's somewhat angry, "So, does that mean you're a swordsman or something?" Izuku saying, "I'd say yes and no." Ochako's inner monologue saying, "Are you for real?" Katsuki chuckling, "Oh, Izuku, you can't be both. In any case, where do you get that thing?" Izuku saying, "Oh, Vince gave it to me. Do you want to see the blade?" Katsuki saying, "Sure, let's see how sharp it is." Izuku pulled the sword from its sheath, only to reveal that the blade was broken, and it barely had a 5 or 6 inches of reach. Katsuki laughing, "Izuku, are you serious? I mean, look at it. It barely has any reach." Izuku saying, "Don't worry about it. It's enough for me. And besides, I can use a non-lethal object, and still, it would be enough to take care of villains, just like the failed attempt to rob a bank." Katsuki saying, "Yeah, not to mention you used that teddy bear when we were kids. I still remember how humiliating that was." The two kept on talking, but All Might called them out and he made them draw lots, after which they look at the results on who is teaming up with who. As for the heroes, Team A, Izuku and Jiro versus Team D, Momo and Tokoyami. Hero Team, Team G, Kaminari and Asui versus Team B, Todoroki and Shoji. Team J, Hiro, Kirishima and Zero versus the villain team, Team H, Bakugo and Uraka. Team F, composed of the Sato and Ojiro, and the villain team, Team I, Koda and Hagakure. And the hero team, Team E, Aoyama and Ashido, and Team C, Ida and Mineta. So, Team A versus Team D. Momo and Tokoyami being the villains, they entered the building to set up the bomb, while Izuku and Jiro were planning. Izuku was looking at the building and analyzing it for potential entrances. Jiro would say, "So, what's the plan?" Izuku saying, plan, right about that." Jiro saying, "I'm guessing there's no plan." Izuku saying, "There are a few I thought of, but my question is, do you want to end things quickly or take your time?" Jiro saying, "I just really want to get things over with." Izuku saying, "Gotcha, but there's one thing that has been bothering me since the first day." Jiro saying, "Which is?" Izuku saying, your earphone jacks, are they made of metal or is it your skin? I mean, I did bite on them to see if it was metal, but the only thing I got was them looking like metal, but they were softer than metal, so what are they made of? Jiro, visibly embarrassed, you mean to tell me that it was you peeping into the girls' locker room? Izuku saying, what are you talking about? I just told Shortstop to scoot over so I can take a look on whatever it was. But I saw your ear jacks, then I got curious, and now I'm asking you. Jiro was mumbling to herself, red in the face, embarrassed, and overall distracted. She barely heard All Might say start. Izuku saying, oh, okay, well, before we start heading inside, can you tell me where they are? Jiro, well, yeah, putting her jacks to the wall of the building. Well, they seem to be on 3rd floor. Izuku simply picked her up, and he was about to jump. Jiro, visibly embarrassed, would say, what the fuck are you doing? Izuku saying, I'm simply making this quick so we can get this over with, like you wanted. And to make things short, Izuku carried Jiro like a bag of potatoes on one of his shoulders, and they made their way to the bomb, where Momo and Tokoyami were waiting. Izuku placed Jiro down, and he went ahead while Jiro would find a way to either get the bomb or simply knock either of the two out. Tokoyami stood between Izuku and the bomb, and calling upon Dark Shadow, they would attack him and keep the bomb safe. But there was one problem. Dark Shadow didn't manifest. Therefore, Tokoyami got knocked out, and not too long after, Momo, while setting up traps, she was caught off guard by Jiro. As they fought, Izuku retrieved the bomb, and the hero team wins. These are the results for the teams. Team A, Izuku and Jiro, versus Team D, Momo and Tokoyami. The winner team, the heroes. Team G versus Team B, which was Kaminari and Asui, versus Todoroki and Shoji. The villain team wins. Team J, Kirishima and Shiro, versus Team H, Bakugo and Uraraka. The villain team wins. Team F, Sato and Ojiro, versus Team I, Koda and Hagakure. The hero team wins. Team E, Aoyama and Ashido, versus Team C, Ida and Mineta. The hero team wins. The next day, Izuku and Edre are walking towards the school. They talk about random stuff along the way, and Izuku talks about his exercise in hearing class. They arrived at the UA gates, but there was the media blocking their way. As Reporter 1 would say, are you one of All Might's students? Reporter 2 would say, what can you tell us regarding him being a teacher at UA? Izuku saying, why are you asking me? Reporter 1 would say, because you're a student. Izuku saying, yeah, okay, if you want, why not ask him, the man himself, how he likes teaching a bunch of kids? Reporter 3 would say, where is he, kid? Izuku saying, when I last saw him, he was with the woman entering a cafe near the train station. Reporter 2 would say, oh, thanks, kid. The reporters make a run for it, looking for All Might. Nedry would say, Izu, did you really see All Might on our way here? Izuku saying, not sure if it was him. Either or not, it was the case. I just wanted them to get out of our way. Once inside UA, the two split and go to their respective classes. Morning classes were boring according to Izuku, and he was getting bored. Aizawa told them to choose a class representative. It's the same situation with voting, but in this case, Izuku got 3 votes, Momo got 2, and Katsuki also got 2, while the others voted for themselves. Izuku refused the position and passed it out to Katsuki, so Katsuki rep and Momo vice rep. Then the lunch bell rang, which Izuku and Katsuki headed towards the cafeteria. Once there, the duo grabbed their food, and they sat at an empty table talking about random stuff, until Kirishima and Tokoyami showed up. They were welcomed casually, and while Tokoyami was mentioning the exercise from the day before, Jiro and Momo joined as well. Tokoyami would say, as I was saying, Dark Shadow refused to come out, and by the time I got home, he told me that he was scared of you, Hado-san. Izuku saying, me? What did I do? Tokoyami saying, I'm not sure, but he said there was something ominous about you. Momo was saying, well, that's odd. Anyways, I was wondering, Hado-san, you got 2 recommendations for UA. Why didn't you take them? Izuku saying, to be honest, I didn't want any hand-me-downs. Kirishima would say, Hado-san, I got one question. We've been classmates since middle school, but you never bothered to be bothered with any of us. Why is that so? Izuku saying, good question. I'm afraid I don't have the answer to that. Kirishima saying, what, are you serious? Izuku saying, nah, just kidding. The reason is simple, actually. You never bothered with me, so I never saw the reason to bother with you. Kirishima was saying, oh, I'm sorry if we didn't speak sooner. Izuku saying, nah, don't worry about it. As someone would come in and say, mind if we join as well? Izuku saying, if it isn't Tipsy Girl and... what's your name? Mina saying, my name is Mina Ashiro. We were classmates since middle school. Sheesh. Ochako would say, and for the last time, don't call me that. Momo saying, Haru-san, why do you call her Tipsy Girl? Izuku saying, simple, she got tipsy with water when she was at the tavern that I work at during the weekends. Ochako saying, changing topics, so why did you guys decide to become heroes? At that question, everybody gave their answers. And when it was Izuku's turn, Izuku would say, well, I wanted to become a hero for the fun of it, Saving people, getting paid for it. Yep, that's a life. Katsuki in his mind, liar, was that the best you can come up with? Mina saying, what about you, Ochako? As Ochako would say, me? Well, at first, I wanted to become a hero for the money so I could support my parents. But thanks to a villain attack 7 years ago, during the summer, my parents were called to help out with the construction. That business was so good that we had to transfer away from the countryside and move here into the city. Izuku, after hearing Ochako mention the incident that happened all those years ago, it kind of made him angry, especially already knowing the direction of the story and the way she was describing it and profiting out of his shame and misery. He would quietly try to leave the cafeteria, Izuku whispering to Katsuki, can you tell them I'll be going to Gran Torino's office? He called me in earlier and I almost forgot something. Katsuki in his mind would say, more like running away. Izuku left without anybody noticing. Ochako, continuing with her motivation of becoming a hero, would continue and say, after which my family seemed to struggle less and my dad was working more than ever before to make sure that me and mom were in better conditions. He was able to buy stuff that I wanted as a kid, so I wouldn't be sad. That was good and all, but ever since then, I hardly seen my father at home. I wanted to spend time with my dad, and after my mom spoke to him, he made sure he spent time with us. I never imagined that I would be able to live a life like that. Mina would say, that's good and all, but you didn't tell us the reason of you being a hero. Ochako saying, oh yeah, sorry, I kind of got distracted there. So my reasons to become a hero changed, but there was something that always bothered me. Mina saying, oh, was it a boy? Was it because you left your crush back in your hometown? Ochako saying, no, not exactly. Back in my hometown, I didn't have anyone like that. But in a way, it does involve a boy, and not for the reasons you think, Mina. Mina saying, oh, boo, you're no fun. Momo saying, Mina, let her finish the story. Mina saying, yeah. Ochako saying, in any case, it was during the time when we started to move into the city. Back then, me and my parents were admiring the beautiful sunset from a cliff which was close to the beach, had the view of the entire shore. Momo saying, isn't it the beach near the hospital? Ochako saying, yeah, that's the one. Well, moving on, I saw a boy staring into the distance, lost into the sunset. Mina smirking, and would say, whoa, poetry. Did you have a crush on him or something? Kirishima sighing, sheesh, woman, let her finish her story. I'm curious to know what happened. Ochako saying, so I saw this boy staring into the distance. He was just there, so I decided to introduce myself, but things didn't turn out as well. He told me to go away multiple times. Then it reached a point where he was using his quirk to scare me away. Mina saying, and then what happened? Katsuki would say, would you just shut the hell up, woman, until the story's done? Sheesh, one more word out of you and I'll explode it off your face. Mina smirking would say, if you do that, what am I going to replace it with? Jiro sighing and would say, why don't you two just get a room already? Katsuki saying, why didn't you use one of the empty buildings of the training ground Gamma during the exercise? Jiro blushing, what is that supposed to mean? Ochako, clearing her throat, would say, as I was saying, he used his quirk and managed to scare me off. But a girl explained the situation, and I realized I said something that upset him. So my reasoning would be, being a hero is to help people like him. Mina saying, so, Ochako, what was his name? Do you remember? Ochako, looking sad, would say, unfortunately, I never knew his name, nor do I know if things got better for him, and not knowing his whereabouts kind of makes me feel sad, you know? Mina, visibly excited, would say, oh, so you really did have a crush on him. Ochako saying, it's not like that. It kind of made me feel useless. Katsuki saying, that wouldn't be anything new. Considering you are mostly useless. Mina saying, oh really? If I'm not mistaken, yesterday's exercise, you were the useless one, and your victory was only thanks to Ochako. Any comments on the matter? Katsuki, scoffing, would say, whatever. Mina cheerfully would say, not so. Jiro would say, I got a question. Where's Izuku? Katsuki saying, oh yeah, Gran Turismo needed him. Jiro saying, oh. Mina saying, so you do have a crush on him. Jiro saying, it's not like that. I mean, Momo's the one that likes him. Momo, visibly embarrassed, would say, Kyoka, what are you saying? Mina saying, I think what she's trying to say, that you like the guy you almost killed, and once you saw his abs, you wanted to grind meat on them. Momo, blushing hard, would say, it's not what you think. While the girls were chatting, Tokiyami, Kirishima, and Katsuki just gave them a deadpan look, as they were thinking the same thing. Kirishima, Tokiyami, and Katsuki thinking in unison, does every girl act like this, or what? I should have taken Izuku's little gift and disappeared while I had the chance. Ochako sighed in defeat, and saying, where did Izuku go? Katsuki saying, what? Are you sad that Izuku didn't hear your nice, sobby, and heartwarming little story? Ochako saying, in a way, yeah. Katsuki saying, well, too bad, Roundface. If you could talk to him freely before, now you can go kiss goodbye, whatever chance you had. I must say, you have a smooth way of getting guys irritated. Ochako, visibly confused, would say, what is that supposed to mean? Katsuki smirking, now where's the fun in that? The alarm sounds in the cafeteria. Pandemonium breaks out with the students running left and right, while overflowing the hallways. Ito, with the help of Ochako, were about to get the attention of the students, but Katsuki was ahead of them. Katsuki would say, making a loud explosion to catch everybody's attention, would say, are you stupid or what? It's just the media outside, and this could have been avoided if only you bothered to look. Fucking extras. Now out of my damn way. That statement left everybody there speechless. Once in class, Ida, doing his karate chops, would say, Bakugo-san, what you said there was inappropriate and in no way an action of a hero. Katsuki saying, did your old school put a stick up your ass or were you born with it? At that point, the class became rowdy until Aizawa intervened and calmed them down, telling them that they'd be going to an off-campus facility in the morning. Classes ended. Izuku was planning to go with Katsuki until Ochako arrived cheerfully, but she was ignored by Izuku. Izuku saying, so Katsuki, I'll meet you up then, okay? Izuku ran off ahead. Katsuki saying, yeah, sure. Ochako saying, what's the meaning of this? Katsuki saying, I thought I told you. You can kiss goodbye whatever chance you had with them. Now out of my way, I got stuff to do. Ochako was confused and didn't know on what to do. The next day, Aizawa explained on what they were going to do, and them having the possibility to wear their hero outfits, and with who they were going with. But Gran Torino had other stuff to do, and that made Izuku happy. Sometime later, they got on the bus, and they were headed towards the USJ. The bus ride is fairly similar to the anime, talking about quirks and stuff like that, with the exception of Izuku and I joining in the conversation. He pretended to be asleep, so Ochako wouldn't bother him. Once there, Hero 13 welcomed them. Hero 13 explained the situation with the USJ. Then, someone dropped the Universal Studio Japan joke, mentioning that although All Might was supposed to be there with them, he was running late while entering inside, so they knew what they were going to do, and Hero 13 explained on why this exercise was necessary, and talking about how quirks could be used for good and evil, and Izuku flinched at that statement. Kirishima would say, Aizawa, I didn't know you guys hired some fake villains, that's so cool. Aizawa would say, we didn't. The exercise is cancelled, 13 protect the students and get back up. As An individual would say, "Kirigiri, it seems that one of our two objectives is missing to the party. Oh well, I guess we have to make do with what we got. Why don't you go on ahead and announce our intentions, and let's make sure it'll be fun." Kirigiri would say, "As you wish, Master Shigaraki." Kirigiri teleports in front of the students, and Kirigiri would say, "Heroes and students, we are the League of Villains, and we invited ourselves to the Haven of Heroes for two objectives. One was to kill All Might, but apparently he's not here. The second is for a student named Izuku Midoriya, and take him back with us, either dead or alive, whichever comes first." The class was confused on the name Midoriya because there wasn't any Midoriya in their class that they were concerned of, with the exception of Aizawa, 13 Izuku, and Katsuki. But Katsuki, in rage, he caught the villain off guard with the explosion, and Aizawa took the opportunity to jump into the fray. Izuku saying, you the guy with glasses that does the karate chops. Ida, doing karate chops. For the last time, my name is Tenya Ida, your classmate." Izuku saying, "Yeah, whatever. How quick are you on your feet?" Ida saying, "I'm pretty fast. Why?" Izuku saying, "Yeah, okay, I need you to go and get the teachers." Ida saying, "But..." Izuku saying, "But nothing. Aizawa can't keep it up on his own. I'll open the door for you, so you move it." Ida, after some hesitation, he made a run for it, with Izuku's help. Izuku saying, "Oi, Katsuki, keep the guy under wraps. I'll help Aizawa." Katsuki saying, "What the fuck? Who died and made you boss?" Izuku glared into Katsuki's eyes. Katsuki in his mind would say, "Crap, wrong words." Before Katsuki could apologize, Izuku jumped into the fray, assisting Aizawa in the middle of the USJ. Aizawa jumped at the bottom of the USJ and hit it towards the center of the plaza, where a great amount of villains were gathered. They looked disappointed that they weren't going to get to fight and kill All Might, but they got excited at the prospective of killing two pros and some students, only to send a message to All Might. Aizawa used the scarf to tie up two villains and slamming both of them into each other. The villains would try to use their quirks, but nothing would happen, as they started to lunge towards Aizawa. While getting distracted by the villains in front of him, a barrage of fire coming from behind would catch Aizawa off guard, but Izuku gets in between Aizawa and the fire, shouting out, "Full counter!" sending the force with triple the force back to the villain, burning the villain and rendering him unconscious. Aizawa would nod to Izuku, signaling to each other to get into a battle stance. Then they rushed towards the villains once again, while Izuku covered Aizawa's back. Some of the villains would find it funny that the small fry were getting beat up by a kid with the broken sword to boot. And Izuku's inner monologue, while smirking, "Laughing about me having a broken sword, huh? Well, I guess you'll have to be an example of the fruits of Gran Torino's training." Izuku would have an easy time getting the villains down with no major effort whatsoever, for he used their attacks against them. With Aizawa being focused on less villains than in the anime, his eyes aren't as tired, especially having Izuku by his side, countering any sort of emitter quirks every now and again that try to sneak up on Aizawa. Slowly but surely, Izuku and Aizawa are winning against the overwhelming odds and numbers. Shigaraki would start to laugh hysterically as he looks at two overwhelming figures. Shigaraki would say, "So this is Master's little experiment, the one that harmed him and escaped from him. Intriguing. He'll be a good addition to my league." As he would start looking towards the two overwhelming figures. "Well, even if the number one hero himself isn't here, at least we can have fun with the Eraserhead and the useless trash up there. Why not have him do the dirty work?" The villains would stop using their quirks altogether, considering their predicament. The smartest of the bunch thought of a plan, so instead of focus on Aizawa, they focused on Izuku, thinking that he wouldn't be able to counter their physical strength. But Izuku proving them wrong while using the dull side of his broken blade, he countered their attacks. The lot of the villains were knocked out and barely standing after an attack of that sort. Izuku was quite proud of his handiwork he did, taking down the villains and managing to let out some frustration. He was starting to relax in this situation, thinking it was over, but before he could do that, he saw Aizawa was getting overwhelmed by a figure towering him. Izuku wanted to help out, so he rushed towards Aizawa, but before Izuku could reach him, he felt a looming presence behind him. Meanwhile, the students were discussing a strategy with Hero 13 to help out Izuku and Aizawa. But on the mention of the two names, Mineta, that was keeping an eye on the fight the entire time, spoke up, Mineta saying, and turned around to face his class, guys, I don't think Aizawa-sensei is looking good. Before the students could ask, only laughter could be heard. The students looked only to see Izuku being stabbed by multiple tendrils piercing through his entire body. Ochako, seeing the scene unfold, she shouted, "Izuku, no!" And to be continued. So, I hope you guys like this part. I swear to God, I have like an hour and 30 minutes recording this each time I get rid of my bloopers as I start recording. So some parts you're gonna notice that it cuts off at a like a little certain part, and there's no background noise, and then some parts there is some background noise. Oh my God, I just got off work and I haven't eaten. Fuck. Well, in this case, I don't blame you guys. In this case, I just wanted to make sure I got this recorded before I process it into a video, from audio to video, then from video stitch the intro, and then from there, everything else, uploading to YouTube. It's going to take a while, so I just rather just record it immediately while the video starts processing, because even the video from audio to video takes at least an hour to 2 hours, depending on how large the file is and the audio, in which case this is like 40 minutes, so yeah, it's pretty big. So in this case, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this part. I do sincerely hope you like these long parts. You can say in a way it's a huge part. And in this case, yeah, give kudos to Ed. He did an outstanding job. I did have to give him some pointers because some parts were a little bit too rushed. He kind of had to rush it, and I didn't want him to do that, so we worked more on the script, me and him. So in this case, yeah. If you guys want more parts, you already know. 300 likes. In this case, after 24 hours, we'll see about starting to script it, if that's the case. It takes time, guys. Don't you think that we're just saying things out of our ass? Well, sometimes we are, but in this case, just to make it more cohesive, because even I have issues, but in this case, I have more like the shtick of the mood. It has the shtick of the going with the dialogue shtick, making it funny. But, we complement each other. But in this case, I hope, without further ado, you liked it. And yeah, subscribe and, leave a comment. What are the parts that we should focus on, or what ifs you want me to do later down the line. Well, guys, have a happy New Year's. And yeah,